冷戦状態が今続いてますけどね。私は
In the program, the Russian teacher is teaching the children that America and England are our enemies, and that the people in those countries are all like devils. It reminded me of the old days in Japan. I think it is the wrong way to educate children. It gives me the impression that Russia is trying to teach children to like war. If the children are taught to be against the West, it will make them open fire on the West. I felt that. I think that Russia is going the wrong way. They can't make peace in the future.
天災であればこれは仕方がありませんけど、核戦争そのものは人災ですから、人災であれば人の手によってこれを収めなければいけないんじゃないかと、私はそう思うんですけどね。なんで戦わなきゃいけないのか。
The Cold War exists, but we should make an effort to abolish nuclear weapons. Nuclear war is not a natural calamity. It is a consequence of human neglect. So we can stop it through our own efforts. No one wins in a nuclear war. If it were to happen, the world would disappear. The top administrators of the world have been discussing nuclear disarmament for a long time. But the decision is simple, and I don't know why they have been so long in discussing it.
なんかこうすごく滑稽な感じがしてしょうがないんです。なぜこんなこと黒か白かはっきり分かってることをどうして延々とこう相談し合いしてるのか、そのこと自体が私なんかのこの幼稚な頭では到底知ることができません。でも早く平和を訪れるように、子供たちの小さな子供たちの世界の中にね。
My one hope now is that my grandchildren will have peace in their future, that there will be no more war in the world.
この余生の中にそういった平和を見出してから、人生を終わりたいと思います。
Афганистан. По всей вероятности.
Afghanistan. Probably Peter has done well to put this question, even though we had decided not to talk about this.
Конечно, западному жителю, поскольку он получает информацию из своих источников.
Certainly, for a Westerner, inasmuch as he gets his information from his mass media, it is probably not that understandable what the situation is in Afghanistan.
По всей вероятности, западные читатели не знают.
Probably the Western readers don't know that there is a treaty between Afghanistan and the Soviet Union about mutual help and cooperation. In accordance with that treaty, a limited, I must repeat, a limited contingent of Soviet troops was introduced onto their territory.
Я почему подчеркиваю дважды, ограниченный. По просьбе, естественно, по просьбе, ограниченный контингент войск. Ведь ежели бы... Я прекрасно понимаю, почему именно так возникает вопрос. Нас хотят, видимо, поставить на одну чашу весов с Соединенными Штатами. Хотят приравнять Гренаду к Афганистану. Во-первых, если так делается за рубежом, то средства информации явно передергивают, искажая правду, истинное положение дел. Помогать молодой республике – наш интернациональный долг. Ведь, наверное, если бы мы скатились до позиции Соединенных Штатов, неограниченный контингент бы войск там был.
I don't really understand why, in the West, the problems of Grenada and Afghanistan are made similar. That's disinformation and distortion of the truth. It's our international obligation to help the newly born republic. It's not the same as Grenada. It's not the limited contingent of Soviet troops which kills teachers, which ruins villages. It's not them who are threatening the peasants. This is the dushmans, the muhadins, the bandits. We're very sorry about the killing down there. But nevertheless, deep in the heart of Soviet citizens, it is believed that the Soviet government made the right decision in those forced circumstances. We are helping our class brothers. We're helping to put up a new, independent state.
В сердцах советских граждан вот этот вынужденный шаг советского государства находит правильное понимание и отклик. И не надо нас сравнивать с Соединенными Штатами и проводить параллель Гренады и Афганистана. Мы помогаем братьям по классу, по договорам, мы помогаем становлению нового, молодого, независимого государства.
Ja, das ist eigentlich, mehr kann ich zu dieser ganzen Sache
I cannot
nicht
tell you
sagen.
any more on this matter.
Dass sowas
I only can
nie
wish
wieder
that something like
kommt. Ich
this
glaube
never
nicht, dass
happens
die
again.
Bomberbesatzung
I do not
selbst
believe that the bomber
das
crews themselves
umgeschmissen
imagined
haben,
what
dass
was
die sich
happening
das
down
vorstellen
there.
können, was da eigentlich
It was
unten los
war,
war, was
okay,
da entfacht wurde,
but it
dass
is
da gar
still
kein Mensch
incredible to imagine that people who do
So
not
ein
know
Krieg,
each other
das Wort
kill
Krieg.
each other.
was eigentlich ein
They didn't do anything to us,
unvorstellbarer
and we
Gedanke
didn't do
ist,
anything to them.
Menschen, die sich nicht kennen, töten.
But it was a higher
Was
strategy,
haben wir den anderen Menschen
and we
getan,
simple people will
die uns
probably
noch
never
umgehen?
find out about it, I suppose.
Ja, das ist war eine höhere Strategie, da werden wir einfachen Bürger wohl nie hintersteigen, finde ich. Und deshalb nie wieder sowas. Man müsste nur dahin arbeiten, dass alles, was überhaupt mit Krieg zu tun hat, vernichtet werde. Aber was soll's, man sieht ja, mein Sohn ist jetzt auch bei der Bundeswehr.
My son is now in the German army. He has to be. And they say, the others do it, so we have to as well.
Dann müssen wir, wenn nun keiner das
If
macht,
nobody
was denn?
did it, what would happen then?
Tja, ist doch wirklich wahr, ne? Ja, ne? Also, denn auch Ostdeutschland, die lieben genauso ihre Freiheit wie wir auch.
Take the
Und auch die
East Germans.
Politiker.
They love their
Ich weiß auch
freedom
nicht,
just like us.
Die sind auch nicht
They are
schlimmer
also
oder
people,
nicht besser oder nicht schlechter
and you
wie
should leave
unsere.
them their point
Das
of
sind auch
view.
Menschen,
That's
die
my
vertreten
opinion.
ihren Standpunkt, soll man den auch ihren
We
Standpunkt
don't tell the
vertreten,
Americans
das
what to
finde
think.
ich, ne?
So we should also
Und
leave
wir
the
machen ja
Russians
auch den
their thoughts.
Amerikanern keine Vorschriften,
And I
wie sie
can't say
denken
more than
sollen.
that.
So sollen wir doch auch
I
den
think the
Russen
only thing that
den
can
ihren
really
Gedanken
prevent a
lassen.
new war is that you really keep together,
Ich finde,
all the
das
nations.
ist das Einzige, was uns überhaupt von einem neuerlichen Krieg abhält. Dass man tatsächlich zusammenhält, die ganzen Nationen.
Da haben die Engländer mit Fleiß immer die Arbeiterviertel bombardiert.
The Englishmen bombed the working class area on
Und da
purpose,
wissen
see?
wir, wenn mal wieder ein Krieg
And we know
kommt, was
what
uns
will be in
blüht.
store for us if there is going to
Dann
be
werden wir
another
wieder
war.
diejenigen sein, die
Then we
am
will again be
ersten
the ones
rangehen.
who will
Aber
suffer
es wird ja,
first.
wenn es mal wieder einen Krieg gibt, wird es
But
ja
if there is
überhaupt,
another war,
glaube ich, ein
the things we
Kinderspiel sein.
experience will have been a child's game compared to what will
was wir
await
erlebt
us.
haben, gegen das, was uns dann
So,
erwartet.
That is why I repeat,
Und darum
you
kann
can
ich auch
only
immer
support
nur
one thing today,
sagen, man kann heute
and that
nur
is the peace movement.
eine Sache unterstützen, und das ist die Friedensbewegung. Denn ohne Frieden gehen wir alle kaputt. Und statt Aufrüstung sollten wir Abrüstung machen und uns darauf konzentrieren, den Menschen wirklich zu helfen.
Instead of
Es gibt ja
armaments,
genug Elend in
we
der
should
Welt.
create disarmament and concentrate on really helping
Da
people.
müsste natürlich auch ein ganz anderer Staat aufgebaut werden.
Don't you think it is cynical how the past and such a threat are treated in politics today.
Ja, die tun alles, als ob das gar
Yes,
nichts war. Und
they
es
all
ist
act as if it
gemessen
was
an dem, was
nothing.
uns erwartet.
And in one way,
War das
it
auch
was,
nicht alles.
compared to what awaits us.
Darüber bin ich mir klar.
Last time, we got through,
Wir sind ja noch davon
even though we had
gekommen.
to make big sacrifices,
Wenn auch
and
mit
we had
schweren
terrible
Opfern
experiences.
und furchtbaren Erlebnissen.
Por ejemplo, aquí que nos hace falta un camión para trasladarnos de aquí a Coatlán, Titecal.
We need a truck for transportation.
En vez de
Instead of spending money on arms, the governments could buy transport equipment and send it here.
y mandarlo para acá, para que nos ayuden.
Y Elena,
Pues es lo que está diciendo mi esposo, está muy bien, ¿sabe por qué? Porque de aquí a Coatlán, un pueblito, pues no será ni 1 kilómetro, 50 pesos. De aquí a 100 pesos.
What my husband is saying is fair. From here to take a bus to the next village is 100 pesos. The transportation is very expensive. The people are very poor. So we're asking the government not to send so much out of the country, but, for example, to keep the rice. Rice is vitamins. This is good for us. We cannot survive like this, as this lady here says. People are now forced to steal. They cannot manage any longer.
Yo creo que sí puede cambiar, nomás que todos trabajemos unidos y el gobierno que nos apoye, ¿verdad? En todo y que haga caso de las peticiones de la gente, pues, de la gente pobre. Porque de plano ya no se puede, como dice esta señora, ¿verdad? Nos echan a robar. ¿Y qué le vamos a hacer, pues? Es una cosa imposible.
Et je crois que maintenant on peut parler, enfin dans Toulouse, on peut dire qu'il y a deux sociétés, qu'il y a deux camps.
I think that now one can say that in Toulouse there are two societies, two camps. The immigrants have their own shopping places, their own bars, their own living areas. They don't have their own cinemas yet, but that will come very soon. So there are two different societies, two different cultures which don't communicate with each other at all. Each one keeps to his own side and doesn't cross the border.
Ne va pas de l'autre côté. Donc il y a une situation qui favorise aujourd'hui le racisme.
Such a situation is instrumental in the increase of racism today.
أنا كمل هيدا محقرة نتاجت مطوث قسم زوارو ثكاد سيدي الإسلام أما نثورة ولا ذي مضبرنا قلنا مازال حقرة نتمطوث ذيني قوار مطاس خاطر مي دخل منو سنة كي كان نقوره 80 89 تسوفخن كنيون.
Things are getting really rough. Since in the last few years, in 1980, they set up a family code, or rather, a code about how women should behave. And when they did this, they didn't take into account any female opinion. These meetings were attended only by men.
In the foreground is a young man who is an exile from Libya and is also a Berber. We do not show his face because he told us that President Gaddafi would kill him if he could.
There is also the question of unmarried mothers. Their children are taken away by the state, which makes soldiers of them.
ما ذاقش يديروا لنا كاع يسعر فافاس خدمت عسكرية تسارنت نسان خاطر نسا يسعى كرا بوليس يسعى كرا في بغضن.
If the child is a boy, he is enlisted in the army. He is the state's possession. Such a boy has already got quite a lot of grievances towards society because he is despised for not having a father. If it's a girl who is born in similar conditions, if she's a natural child, she works as a cleaning woman in public places, such as hospitals, factories. She doesn't get any salary and is not provided with anywhere to stay. If she works in a hospital, she sleeps with the patients. Women don't get paid when they work in the fields, or at home, or in the village. Any work they do never gets taken into account. The housework, for instance, is not paid for. It's a familiar situation to me. The man comes home in the evening and he has his dinner. His wife eats what is left over. He doesn't consider that bringing up the children is work, neither her work in the fields, which doesn't get paid for either. The women are considered cheap labor.
لكن ولين ثمطوث سوحقر خطر ثمطوث ماشي نختار في السبانغي ساتحقران غاس تخدم نولي في لونك خدمه ديال الخلاوي.
Women are oppressed because they are women. Everybody thinks that it is only the money earned by the man which supports the family. Hence, he is the one to make all the decisions in the family. The woman has no right to speak.
Mau tupuna i te mātāmu, me maramarama rātou. Te itera rātou i te pāpai. Te itera rātou i te parau, te mau me ato. Te tere nei rātou narato i te moana pati tiva. Ai te aweia.
Our ancestors of yore were very intelligent. They navigated over the Pacific without any compass. The stars, the moon were their compass. It's not possible to say that it was the Europeans who taught us. But the European, it is he who has been brought into our land and is the cause of our going hungry. Today I can say that. We are hungry. Everything has gone over into the possession of the Europeans. We keep forcing our children to go to school. They get the highest diplomas, yet they are not given a single main position in any good jobs. These diplomas our children hold, they are only of use to get work as ditch diggers along the roads. This child will go out and hold this shovel, and he will be paid 1 tara a day, which is only 5 local francs. This is the money paid to him to feed his household. Is that right? The Europeans, the Chinese here, they get all the good jobs. In my opinion, the correct thing to do is to send the Europeans back to their country and to leave the Polynesians to run their own lives. I have a very poor livelihood, and I am pushing my child to reach a high-level job, but he won't get there. He'll end up on the handle of a shovel, along the road, digging holes and gardening. He will not gain any money. That place will be left for the Europeans. Therefore, I am supporting all the organizations, the mothers, who work so that the Tahitian youngsters can be left in charge of their own country and get the jobs for themselves. What do you think of this thing the French say? that it is thanks to them that we have our current prosperity. Is that correct? It is not correct. In the beginning, the Tahitians were able to live through their own efforts. They ate. They had a good life. Now that the Europeans have come to our country, life has become difficult. The Tahitians have gone into debt. They are having a hard time today.
I thought it was very interesting to see the similarities between the cultures here in America and the Russians, and also between the Mexican family too. I think they share the same sentiments as we do about war and about peace and about how life should be, you know. I don't think it's the people who want to have the nuclear wars. It's the governments. And it's the people who are sponsoring it. And I think that's why everyone's very concerned about it and upset. I'm upset myself. Just learning about all this material in this film has been very enlightening for me. There's a lot of things that, just in the process of being involved in this film, that I have learned that I didn't know before. And I'm really surprised and very shocked at some of the things. And it's very depressing just to know that all these things are going on, and a lot of things are just going on behind our backs without our knowledge and without our consent. And it's disturbing. You can tell it's disturbing to the Russian people. They don't want to have war. The Mexican people they're barely having enough money to buy food day to day. And when you learn that all this money is being spent for nuclear war and all the high technology is being directed toward this, and it's actually being directed away from all the things that could be done. But I think generally people are becoming more aware of what's going on, and a lot more people are speaking out and showing their disapproval and their dislikes. And I think that it's not too late to change, even though it's an enormous task.
Bill and Elizabeth's children are now writing to President Reagan. We will hear them reading their letters later in the film.
Well, the way the media reports on the Russian people, they report on them as a country, and you can't really identify them as a people because it's always said the Soviet Union this, the Soviet Union that. And like I said earlier, I feel that it was a privilege, you know, to see a Russian family close up.
I believe they all have a fear of something bad situation happening like that. Seeing that mother, I know she loves her family just like I love mine, and I wouldn't want to see anything like that happen.
I can't believe that the people would want a nuclear confrontation, but you know, I can't say what the government over there would do, but I just can't believe that people would be behind anything like that.
People with the most concerns are those that don't have anything to to say or do with that. It's the ones that are in power positions, I believe, both here and there. That particular family, I don't believe that they want war any more than what our family would.
Får meg til å tenke på en norsk politiker som uttalte I et intervju for en tid siden at han kommenterte sitt partis tilbakegang.
You made me think of a Norwegian politician who remarked in an interview some time ago that the debate in the late 70s and in the beginning of the 80s was primarily concerned about economic questions and the power of the market, while the political debate in the 60s was much more concerned about values, about the relationship between human beings. Certainly, to a large extent, he is right. The political debate is changing all the time. And right now, we are in the middle of an egocentric period, to put it plainly.
Mens 60-åras politiske debatt gikk mye mer på verdier, som gikk på forhold menneskene imellom. Og det klart at han kan nok ha mye rett I det. Samfunnsdebatten forandrer seg hele tiden, og vi inne I en nok så egoistisk periode, for å si det rett ut. Det har selvfølgelig en årsak.
I'm of the opinion that we shall have to restore a series of values, such as tolerance and respect for fellow beings. We must learn to use our feelings to a larger degree, to admit that we desire to get into contact with other people. At the very least, we ought to further the opinion for equality between people of different cultures. We must demand a good life for them, as we do in our society.
Vi bør I alle fall mene at vi må legge det samme mål på andre folk I andre kulturer, sett rett til et godt liv da, som vi krever av vårt eget samfunn.
Pancho y Elena, ¿qué son las cosas buenas de vivir aquí en el campo?
What are the good things, the things that you like in the countryside? The trees, the river. It's so rich. It has so much vegetation. The vegetables.
Verduras ahí en el campo.
Pancho, you prefer life in the countryside to the city? Yes, I love the countryside so much. I like to work here. I like to see things growing. There is too much traffic in the city. There are beautiful sights in this life in the country, but you have to know how to take advantage of it.
Yo creo que sí, porque ya se encuentra muy apretado, mucho tráfico, mucho smog, mucha gente.
Entonces, tiene su lado muy bueno el campo.
Sí, bastante, sí, es cuestión de aprovechar, saber aprovechar, pues.
¿Y qué cosas son difíciles en su vida?
What is difficult in your life here?
Pues los impuestos, ¿verdad? Que llega un recibo de luz y cada vez tenemos
the taxes, for instance, you get an electricity bill for $2,000, $2,600. You earn $300, but you get a bill for $2,000, and you can't pay it. This is a very critical situation for us.
Está difícil, ¿verdad? Entonces ahí vemos la cosa crítica, pues.
Y Pancho, de trabajar en el campo, ¿hay cosas difíciles?
No, es que yo me crié pues en el campo.
I was born here.
O sea que
I've spent my life here.
Que la mayor parte de mi
When I
vida
was around 20, I was 5 years in Mexico City, and I've been in many places. But I'm happier in the countryside than in the city. If I would go to the city now, I could lose one of my children there. And there's all the traffic.
He ido a Tabasco, a Tijuana, Ensenada, Mexicali, todo eso. Pero me ha gustado más el campo, la provincia, pues. Más ahora que ya tengo mis hijos, me siento más contento en el campo que en la ciudad.
¿Por qué?
Porque pues mis hijos están acostumbrados aquí a la provincia.
La vida es mejor, más
Sí,
saludable.
sí, más cómoda aquí. Porque yo tanto que si me fuera yo a la ciudad, pues a lo mejor hasta podía perder uno de mis hijos, ¿no? Porque no están impuestos ahí a la ciudad. Por ejemplo, tanto tráfico y eso, podría yo perderlos, ¿no? Uno, porque no están acostumbrados.
Well, I think basically my biggest fear never materialized, and that fear was being isolated from my old friends because that's all I knew at the time. And when that didn't prove to be true, when it proved that actually it strengthened our friendships, it gave me the hope that, you know, that people really do care about each other. And that kind of broke down political boundaries for us because we could see that even though we are different politically, we're still loving, caring, sharing friends, and that can reach beyond our national boundaries. Even though we as Americans are politically different than Russians, that doesn't mean that we can't still be friends. We can jump over those boundaries and we can still appreciate each other for who they are and be caring and sharing in our brotherhood towards each other.
I'm very glad to be able to talk to this family. It's also the first time I've ever seen a Russian family. And I think it's very important that we converse with them even in this way.
By this time, 6 months had passed and the two families had partly met. The Smileys having taken a tourist bus to Leningrad, where they had managed to briefly meet with Alexander.
I'd like to help David. He's so nervous.
Well, Alexander, Lydia, Masha, we have just been watching your video. We've now established a two-way contact, for which I'm very glad. Alexander, you picked up my remarks about the mystery of the Russian people, and you suggested several ways in which we could solve this. Although the ways that you suggested make it very difficult for us in this country because books, any books we read, Russian books, we're talking about Tolstoy, Chekhov, Pushkin, these are pre-revolutionary authors. I've read them. But, talking about modern Russian authors, we're only talking about Solzhenitsyn. People have defected, and therefore it must be a biased opinion. What we want to learn about is the Russian people now, people like yourselves. Films, it's the same thing that applies, it's anti-communist. So I'm afraid we're left with the visit to the USSR. If you can put up with us, we'll be very happy to do that. Thank you.
Another way I think we could learn more about Russians, your family in particular, would be to write. And I was thinking if it would be alright if I could write to Masha I would get the address of Peter.
Absolutely.
Yes, just like to say how happy I am to see you all on film, and it's very interesting to see a Russian family. I've never seen anybody at all apart from the military, and I hope we'll be able to keep contact in some way, but this is definitely a start, and a start I don't intend to let go. We'll keep it up, and as I say, it made me more determined than ever to get up and do something positively instead of sitting at home worrying myself sick about my future, the future of my family, and the state of the world. So good luck to you in the future, and I hope to be hearing from you and make contact with you, possibly through a visit or at least through the mail in some way. So I'll just say goodbye to you now for the moment.
Эту запись Питер сделал полгода назад. С тех пор уже большая часть фильма снята. Хотелось бы знать, какие у вас впечатления остались вот от этого нового, второго уже послания от семьи Смайли.
Прежде всего, конечно, хочется сказать большое спасибо Питеру.
First of all, thank you, Peter, and say hello to the Smileys. On the 22nd of January, I had a 4-hour meeting with Sam and Kathleen. They came here as tourists.
Так получилось, что, как мы говорим по-русски, живьем их уже видели. 22 января состоялась 4-часовая, правда, встреча Самуэля Смайли и Кэтлин Смайли со мной в Доме дружбы, когда они приезжали сюда по туристской путевке. И
I still remember this contact, not so much as a physical, but a spiritual one. Marvelous people, marvelous family.
Под впечатлением от этих не столько физических, как духовных контактов. Прекрасные люди, прекрасная семья. Я очень сожалею, что только 4 часа с ними общался. Я понял, что для них тоже близки проблемы мира и войны. Несколько другие проблемы в семье. Ну что ж, здесь каждому свое. Хотя я тоже понимаю тревогу родителей. А как дальше у Сьюзен будет с образованием? Нам об этом думать не надо.
Хотя... Вот что Маша думает, например, о послании Дэвида?
What do you think about David's message?
Конечно, очень приятно, но...
Thank you for the letter. It was very touching. But it would be nice to see each other, especially if they could come here during the white nights of summer. On the screen, I can talk to them as if they're alive. It's very wrong they're over there.
Я могу с ними заговорить. Ну, как живые, вот, то есть они здесь сидят. Почему они не рядом с нами? Нет, я все равно туда смотрю.
Причем получили письмо уже от них. И кому бы я не давал читать подлинник или перевод.
A friend of mine saw the letter they wrote to me and said, Alexander, you're really lucky to have made friends with such real people, really good people. So we still hope for future contacts, if they have any possibility to come to Leningrad.
И мы действительно надеемся, что у них будет такая возможность посетить Ленинград.
Мы с удовольствием вам покажем.
Мы с удовольствием покажем город и примем их у себя. И еще раз большое спасибо. Задним столом.
Yes, we'll show them around with pleasure and we'll meet them warmly in our house. We'll sit together at one and the same table.
Что быстрее у нас взаимопонимание пойдет за общим столом. Это быстрее. получится у нас. Еще раз большое спасибо Питеру за то, что нам, особенно мне, он третий раз доставляет удовольствие видеть семью Смайли.
Вы знаете, что вот, наверное, мы не будем так волноваться, как волнуемся сейчас и тогда.
Although we're on the same screen in the film, an understanding will come much more quickly while sitting at the same table. If we see each other at the same table, we won't be as nervous. We see them here being as nervous as we are.
Саш, ты волнуешься?
Да.
Ну, я не знаю, там глава семьи меньше волнуется, чем мы. Они, бедненькие, очень волнуются. И мы точно так же. А вот встретимся не будем так. Да.
I think it says something on a larger scale too. We're talking about the family, and Jerry said we haven't lost any friends, but we've gained an awful lot of new ones. If we as a country could take a first step, and we as a nation could start extending ourselves by acting upon faith, by acting upon the words in God we trust, that we could change the course of the world. We could change the course of events, because you take a look at it on our neighborhood scale. We didn't lose any friends, and immediately the friends that we had supported us. They supported us through love, through a non-conditional love. They accepted our political point of view and said, hey, you're still great people. And I think that we could do this as a country by, taking the first steps. I don't think that other countries or other political leaders would alienate us. We could take the first steps towards peace.
قويني نكراكويت نكر دوك في مورا القبائل نزرع شو يطمطوف عطوف نكون تلاوينا.
We have lived in Kabylia. We know what it means to be a woman over there. I often saw men beating their wives for no reason. They beat them until they get tired of it. Yes, without any reason. They can't say a thing or ask for any explanation. This happens every day. The other women don't even try to understand. Deep down, they think that there must always be a good reason for a man to beat his wife.
كي زرع داغن كثدر ثضران
3 or 4 years ago in my village, I saw a girl of 14, 15 go out with a boy only to chat. Her father saw her by surprise. He killed her.
Man anu ko yim savo ko la kula ko e mananga tangetela tot makalet.
How shall we bring the war to an end? We have enemies. What shall we do about them? Shall we engage them in a dialogue? Or what shall we do?
Timakata komati amesititu.
Hine hitla swo swi leswaku kumbe loko apa ku tshamiwa hansi va khanela manje o swa ku leswi hine malwele ya kone ho kolwela minhlani ya vazangeli va yimpinga vona.
We support the idea of holding a dialogue, but this matter is above our competence. It is the proper responsibility of military leaders. We do not wish to talk out of turn with them, but it seems that they are of the opinion that a dialogue will not produce positive results. Have we not already had a dialogue with them? The result was that we never understood each other. The message we would like you to take back after your visit to our poverty-stricken cooperative is that you give people over there our regards. You must tell them, but they are very poor and they are appealing for support. That you must tell them. And also that our enemies are still bent on destroying us. They must tell their people, in Mozambique there is no peace. People are working, but they have nothing to wear. They have nothing to eat. Here in our workplace, we don't have a bucket. We have nothing. Having come here, you might be able to give us a helping hand when you return home. You might be able to help us with this or that. Something concrete that would make us very happy.
Emanangata etis apfana.
We have had great pleasure in receiving the guests. Let this not be the last time. They must return here another time and see how we are getting on. Our state of poverty is exactly as we have described it. The war situation is as you have witnessed it. We appeal to them that if it is within their means to help, let them help us. Our cooperative of the 25th September, here at kilometer 15, is very happy for the visit. We stop here with happiness in our hearts. Kani Mambu, thank you.
Was glauben Sie, warum junge und auch
And why do you think young people, also middle-aged people today, don't want to see that it was terrible, even if they didn't experience it? It is because it is so dreadful. No human being can imagine it. The same with the concentration camps. They just don't believe it. It is more comfortable if they don't know anything about it. It's easier that way. To come to an understanding on these things means also to do everything to prevent it happening again. And they're afraid of that. They don't want to deal with it. Many of them think only of themselves and no further.
glauben Sie, dass es zu schaffen ist?
Do you think it is possible to prevent something like that from happening again?
Das ist nur zu schaffen, wenn wir endlich aufhören aufzurüsten.
It is only possible if we finally stop arming.
Das Geld, was wir in die Aufrüstung
The money we
stecken,
put
das
into
sollen wir lieber
armaments,
in
we
die
should rather put into the human species.
aber nicht zu ihrer Vernichtung,
Not for
sondern
destruction, but for its flourishing.
Denn wir haben so große
We have
Erfindungen
created
gemacht,
such
wir könnten
big
heute alle noch
inventions.
besser leben als früher,
We should all be able
wenn
to
diese
live
Erfindungen
much
alle
better than in
ausgenutzt
former
werden
times.
könnten. Aber was
But
machen
what do
Sie?
they do with these
Eine ganze Menge
inventions?
davon, ich bin kein Experte,
The
aber eine
hydrogen
ganze
bomb and
Menge,
so on.
was Sie erfunden haben,
That doesn't
die
serve peace.
Wasserstoffbomben und alles,
What do they think
dient
when they
ja nicht
create all
dem
these
Frieden,
weapons?
sondern da muss
For the
man mehr
moment,
Angst
people
haben,
have
dass
employment.
wieder neuer Krieg
But
kommt.
that is no reason.
Was
We could
denken
also
Sie
work for
eigentlich,
peace.
wenn Sie all diese Waffen
There are
und
enough
alles
trees to be
herstellen?
planted and enough things to be built up.
Da haben im Moment Menschen Arbeit. Das ist aber kein Grund. Wir könnten auch für den Frieden arbeiten. Es gibt genug Bäume zu pflanzen und genug aufzubauen. Ich könnte mehr für die Bildung tun, für die Kinder. Wenn heute einer studiert,
You could
hat
do
er
more for
hinterher keine
education,
Arbeit.
for the children.
Es sind ja auch alle die Lehrer und alle sind ja alle mit betroffen heute. Also so wie das jetzt wird, hat man keine Hoffnung, wie das jetzt ist.
But the way it is
Kann ich nur
developing,
hoffen, dass die
there is no
Menschheit doch
hope.
sich besinnt. Aber ehe da nicht eine direkte Besinnung kommt,
Until there is some direct consciousness and something is done for
solange kann
peace,
man nur Angst
you can
haben.
only have fear.
Und man kann es nicht vergessen.
And you cannot forget what happened.
Nein, das kann man nicht vergessen.
No,
Das kann
you
man
cannot
nie
forget
vergessen.
that.
Sehen Sie, wenn ich
When
Ihnen
I
das
tell
hier
this to
erzähle,
you,
dann
it's choking me in the throat so that I can only just speak.
dass ich überhaupt sprechen kann. Ja, was wollen Sie denn noch fragen?
Well, is there anything else you want to ask?